Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Metastellar YouTube channel. My name is Maria KOROLOV, and I am the editor of Metastellar. With me today is, somewhere over there is AMIRA LOUTFI, our reviews editor. Every Friday, AMIRA and I read the top 10 sci-fi and fantasy books on Amazon, or at least we try to. We don't always get through every book. In fact, we usually just get into the first couple of chapters of each book before we give up. But sometimes we go on and we read the whole book when it's really good, and we personally like it. So today's list of books includes a post-EMP survival book, a shapeshifter romance on a cruise ship book, and a fantasy book, and a bunch of fantasy books, and a time travel book. So we're gonna start with AMIRA, because she reviewed the number one book on the list. But before we go into that, I want to tell you guys about Metastellar, which is an online magazine of speculative fiction. All the content is always free. We publish original fiction and reprints in the categories of science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Our fall submission cycle is open right now and ends on October 31st. So if you have short fiction up to 1,000 words to submit, the link is going to be below. We also publish excerpts, essays, and lots of book reviews like this one. We are able to do this and keep all our content completely free thanks to our Patreon supporters. Thanks, guys. The link to our Patreon page is below, and all the money goes to pay for original fiction. If you like this kind of content, please also support our channel by hitting like and the subscribe button. All right, so let's get into it. AMIRA, the first book today was The Many Lives of Ivy Wells. And so what'd you think of it?
I mean, I think it's a pretty good book. I only read the first maybe 3 chapters, but it was, fast paced. It was interesting, well written. There's definitely a lot going on in it. And yeah, if I wasn't already reading Dune, I probably would come back. But I'm reading Dune right now, so I don't have time for this book. So some of the things that were really cool about it, or like the main things going on, is there is a serial killer who's been terrorizing a small town, and the protagonist is his ex-wife. She's been running away from him for a while, and one day he finds her and their children, and when he kills her, she wakes up and she finds herself a child all over again. She's about 12 years old, and none of the murders have happened yet in the small town, right? So I feel like that's a really cool story. It's just a really cool beginning for a story, right? So I was impressed. I think if you're into time travel, thrillers, it's a good one, and it's fast paced.
That sounds like an awesome premise for a movie or it's like TV show.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the next book we've got is Breakdown, which is that EMP story that I mentioned earlier. And EMP stands for electromagnetic pulse, which wipes out electronics but leaves people standing, right?
Yeah. So do you want me to dive into this one?
Yep.
So I have never read a book like this before with the EMP pulse disaster, but Maria has reviewed many of them for Free Friday, and that made me very curious because she always hates them, right?
Oh yeah, I do. I always hate them.
Yeah, so you always hate them, and that always makes me kind of curious because I've never read one before. And today I got to read one, and I really like it. I'm actually do it. Yeah.
You are reading all of these books from now on.
Okay. No
Because
problem.
I am getting to the point where I see EMP survival on the cover and I'm like, no, anything but that. Get away from me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so some of the, I don't know, elements, I guess, that make this story interesting is well, the characters, right? The characters I found to be interesting, and also the situation that they're in. So the main character is this old guy who's like really buff and tough, and he's also like into guns, and he likes to go out into the wild, the dangerous wilderness, as they say. Um, and he has been hired by this PhD student to bring him out into the wilderness to collect the bones of bears, right? So he's out there with this PhD student looking for grizzly bears, or at least for their bones, right? Um, and they have this argument about like guns, and the PhD student is like kind of a hippie, and he's kind of annoying and whiny and stuff. And the the pro gun guy is like really tough and cool. And I'm like, okay, like this sounds very like, I don't know, like you can kind of imagine the political or like worldview of like the author, right? But at the same time, it's like, sometimes PhD students could be really whiny, right? Sometimes they have horrible personalities, right? It's true. So I'm just like, okay, that's believable, like I'm going along with it. And as they're out there in the wilderness, um, all of their electronics shut down, basically. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay, so what I want to know is if they're out in the wilderness and electronics shut down, how does the guy know it's an EMP attack and not just random batteries dying at the same time?
So far there's no explanation for that.
Oh, okay.
Very simple. It's the narration just says, the guy, I forgot his name already. His name. The guy, Alaric had a theory, and he wasn't sure, so he's checking his phone. His phone is dead, and he asked the PhD student, check your phone, and he whining, of course. And then he's like, haha. Now, like after he sees both of their phones are dead, he's confident that all the electronics are out.
Yeah, see, that's one of the things that annoys me about these EMP books is that I mean, first of all, it would take a huge amount of power for an EMP blast to reach the middle of nowhere. So, usually you detonate something in the middle of a big city, or near a transformer or something where it could do some damage. But the other thing is, like, both phones die at the same time. Odds are that it's just a coincidence, not that it's a crazy EMP attack by the Russians or Chinese or aliens or whatever. Like the fact that they immediately jump to oh, it's an EMP attack, which is exactly the thing I've been preparing for my whole life. I'm like, oh, not again. Maybe like the first time, like, okay, this could be a fun premise. All right. But there's been I think one of these books has been on the bestseller list every single week for the past few months. And I am just getting so annoyed with them. It could just be a dead cell phone, people.
Yeah. No, that's true.
But anyway, so the other time travel book today, that was the Time Machine by H.G. Wells. And I was suspicious of this book. So were my suspicions confirmed?
Yeah, I think so. So there were a few things that I noticed when I was comparing the text. Well, first I was comparing like the first chapter to, like, I was checking it line by line to see like if there was something missing from the text, and I didn't notice anything. But then when I looked at the table of contents, I noticed that the copy we have here like doesn't have titles for each chapter, and other copies do. And it also only has 12 chapters, and other copies have 16 chapters.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so
something
this
is
is
wrong.
a public domain book. And the thing with public domain book is anybody can sell a copy of it. And most of the copies of it on Amazon are, cost money. Because they're done by like Penguin Classics or somebody like that puts it out. And this one is free. So I guess that's why it's on the bestseller list, because it's a free copy of The Time Machine. But you can get a free copy on Gutenberg. And I actually added a link to your review of it. So where people can get it on Gutenberg, and you can read it for free online. You can download it and read it for free on any mobile device, all the chapters, not just like a few. But I noticed in the reviews that some people were complaining about the editing, that it looked like somebody just ran it through a scanner without, proofreading it.
I didn't notice that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why I had you look for it, because like I think was it the first review was like a 1-star review saying, this is a ripoff.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's more wrong that I just didn't notice, but I kind of felt like I need to move on.
Yeah, well, the fact that it was missing chapters is kind of huge.
That's a big one.
Yeah. So yeah, folks, don't get this book on Amazon. Get it on Gutenberg. Gutenberg has like all the classic books for free, and you can read them in any place, anywhere that you want. And support them. They're a great resource. So let's see, what's the next one? Oh yeah, this let me pull this up for you guys so you can see this. If I can figure out how to get to it. There we go. All right, so this is a very Christmas cruise. And is that what it sounds like?
I think, okay, so I read the first few chapters. It seems like it is exactly what it seems like. This is okay, so I'm pretty sure this is going to be like a really cute, funny story, like very cute. Basically, well, I mean, yeah, that's basically like my impression. I'm pretty sure it's going to be cute, going to be funny. It's a shifter romance. The guy on the cover is probably the romantic interest named Gunnar. He probably is going to be transforming into a bear at some point while he's on a cruise with the protagonist, right?
It sounds so cheesy. Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's ridiculous. But it's ridiculous in a way that's like kind of convincing. Like, as I'm reading it, I feel like, okay, that's cute. That's convincing. All right, yeah, no, I could believe this, So one of the prologue is really cute. The protagonist, right, her name is Michelle, and she's going through her mail. She finds one invitation to go back to the cruise, and she's like, oh hell no, I'm not getting on that cruise again, right?
Oh, so this is a sequel to a previous cruise.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, I'm not sure if there's another book.
Oh, yeah, well, hold on. Yeah. I think I looked it up when I was doing this. Hidden Heart, the first book in the companion Darkwing series. So this is the Darkwing Paranormal Holiday Cruise series, which is a spin-off of the original Darkwing series, which was also set on a cruise ship. And we read that back in March.
Okay, great. So
I guess there's a lot of these books.
Yeah, and I guess I'm a fan, right? I mean, I can totally see myself coming back to this. Like, it's just it's cute, it's funny. Yeah, and apparently, yeah, so it's a sequel. And Michelle, she's saying like she's never gonna go on this cruise again, and we don't know why. right? And then she gets a bunch of pictures from her best friend. And her best friend married into this magical family. Her mother-in-law is an oracle. Her husband is a wolf shifter, and her son, she has a son now, and her son is a baby wolf shifter. And in that picture, you know, Michelle is there too, and she's holding the baby. She's holding their baby, right? Also in that picture is Gunnar. Gunnar is like, you know, probably the bear man on the cover, right? She looks back at that and she just like is kind of annoyed when she sees him there. She's like, he didn't even talk to me at that event. So I feel like, you know, there's going to be some kind of cute, you know, relationship thing going on between her and him. And she's also a witch. She can do magic. She can like shoot things out of her fingers.
So it hits all the high spots: Christmas, cruises, shape-shifting, magic.
Yeah, I mean, another thing I really like, I like about this book is that it's kind of seems like it is making fun of itself. It seems like it's making fun of itself, but at the same time, I know that it's, you know, it's also going to be a shifter romance, right? It's like a shifter romance that's making fun of shifter romances.
Okay.
And yeah, no, it's
Fun,
cute.
yeah.
It got me a couple times. Yeah, so I just wonder if it's gonna like, I feel like a lot of books get really kind of like saggy in the middle, like they're really entertaining in the beginning, they kind of start sagging in the middle, and then they might come up at the end. I really don't know, but you know, I'm willing to give this one more of a chance.
All right. I might take a look at it too. It that cover though, that cover is so cheap.
And the facial expression of the guy, it's like it's weird. He's just making a weird face.
But I guess it tells you everything you need to know. You know, this is like perfect marketing. If this is what you want, this is exactly what you're gonna get.
Yeah. But I didn't know that that's what I wanted.
Oh, but now you do.
Yeah.
All right, and let's go on to the next set of books, and I'm going to talk about these all as a set because there's 6 books of a series, and this is actually pretty cool. I've been meaning to read these for a while, and because I keep seeing them come up in searches and recommendations, but I kind of like never got the opportunity. So let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Zoom is so weird. It just like randomly moves pictures around. And anyway, so this is a series of 10 books, and the first 6 are free today. The other 4 are $6.99 each, but they're all in Kindle Unlimited. So Kindle Unlimited is $10 a month for all you can read, the Netflix of books. The 10th book is due out next month, which is, I guess, is why Will White has made all of these free today. So this is a really cool story so the book's history is a cool story, but the books themselves are also a cool story. So I'm really getting into this. It starts out, and I think it continues in the same vein from what I can tell, as a young adult book. So the main character, Lyndon, starts out at around 15, and everybody in his clan in this world has magic powers except for him. And so he's trying to find his way in the world without these magic powers. He can still do some magic, but it's like baby level magic. And everybody kind of looks down on him for that. But what sets this book apart is the very, very rich world building. The clan, the village, his family, his mother is a really kick-ass person. His sister is really kick-ass. The world building is awesome. It actually reminds me a lot of Harry Potter. So this is epic fantasy. It's set in a pure fantasy world. It's not like something that's set kind of like in modern day, the way Harry Potter is, but it has a lot, and there's no school, but it has a lot of the same feel. So the main character progresses through the levels of magic as he discovers his powers. And so the author, Will Wright, calls it a progression fantasy, I believe is what he called it. Progression fantasy, which is kind of similar to a lit RPG book. So lit RPG or game lit are books that are set in a video game world. So reading this book is kind of like watching somebody play a video game, but in book form. So this is kind of like that because you have the progression and you're going up through levels, but it doesn't have, it's not an actual video game, and you don't get any stats and bonus points, and you don't have to allocate anything, and you don't get a page full of stats every chapter. But it has that similar kind of satisfying feeling of progression. And you get this in other kind of books too. Harry Potter has a progression where he goes up through a grade level in every book. The Honor Harrington books by David Weber have a progression as she moves up through the military ranks. It's a space opera, which I love. Historically, the Horatio Hornblower books, which are about naval ships stuff, they're historical books. They have a similar kind of like progression where the main character gets promoted due to his abilities. So I like those kind of books very much. They have a very satisfying feel to them because the main character is making progress. And that is kind of like the main arc of the book. But I enjoy that very much. And so if you like that, these books fall into that category. I hate young adult books, but I really liked this one. The main character, Lyndon, he's very compelling. He's not whiny. He doesn't complain about what's happening to him. He makes the best of everything. And he's got strong female characters around him, which I really enjoy. Sometimes lit RPG books kind of fall flat in that area. It's super readable, like super readable. It has thousands of 5-star reviews. I mean, the whole series does. So definitely worth reading. Get these books while they're free right now. Like I said, they're normally $7 each. So that's like $35 worth of books right there. Definitely a great deal. I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to finish it. I'm quite a bit of the way through the book right now, and I'm having a really good time. So for the history of the book itself, Will Wright self-published it. He set up his own publishing company, I think 8 years ago when he started doing these books. He also has the Traveler's Gate trilogy and the Elder Empire trilogy. All of them are in Kindle Unlimited. And there's a bunch of short stories that he's got up free on his website, and I'll have the link below as well. So he set up a publishing company, Hidden Gnome Publishing, in 2013, and he's published all his books. So he self-published all his books, and he hit the New York Times bestseller list for audiobooks this summer, which is amazing. It's a self-published book that hit the New York Times bestseller list. He was right up there next to Stephen King and Harlan Coben. I mean, really, these books are awesome. And he's an inspiration to like every indie author out there. I would love to get him on this show. Will Wright, if you're watching this, my email's below. But I'm also going to try to reach out to you. And then the other cool thing about this book is that it falls into the subgenre of fantasy called XIANXIA, if I'm pronouncing it right. So this is influenced by traditional Chinese mythology and martial arts, kind of like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon kind of thing. And he's written a post explaining a little bit more about the genre, which I'm going to link to below as well. Most of those books are in Chinese, but some are available in English translation at various levels of quality. And they're often written as web novels with people post regular installments online. And so that's like a whole genre of fiction that I didn't know existed until today. So I'm kind of like excited about that. So that is really cool. I loved reading this. I love having these books. I'm really happy that Will made them free so I can take a look at them. And yeah, so thanks, Will. Yeah, and that's the roundup of today's books. Let's see, is there anything else that we wanted to talk about today? Just like, subscribe. We do this story every week. Every single Friday we look at the top 10 books on Amazon, and I'm going to have a link to that page where all of our free Friday books are, so you can check for those. And you can also subscribe to our newsletter, which comes out every Friday afternoon, so you get that in your newsletter every Friday after we publish this article. And you can subscribe to this channel as well. So yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks, AMIRA, for doing this with me again today. I really appreciate it. And see you guys all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.